The red light on my grandma's life alert pendant flickered like a dying heartbeat as she lay crumpled on her kitchen floor. Her trembling hand pressed the button over and over, each push a silent plea for help. But no voice came through the speaker. No calm operator promising paramedics were on the way. Just an eerie, deafening silence that screamed something was horribly wrong. What Grandma didn't know what I didn't know was that across the hall, Cynthia Harper, or as everyone in Meadow VYEW retirement community called her, saw Karen, stood smirking at her own cruel handiwork. Maybe now she'll stop playing the VY Tim, she muttered, smoothing her sleek blonde bob and adjusting the gaudy pin on her blazer that screamed Saw HOA Vice President Saw. She thought she'd gotten away with it. She didn't know that Mr. Jenkins in Unit 204 had seen everything through his cracked open door. He'd already dialed 911, and the faint wail of sirens was growing louder by the second. I never wanted Grandma to move in a Meadow VYEW. Sure, the place had pristine lawns and a sunny name, but something about it felt off from the start. The tour guide's smile was too forced, the hallways too sterile. But after Grandma's second fall last year, her creaky two-story house wasn't safe anymore. A one-bedroom condo with emergency cords in every room and a community that claimed to care for its elderly seemed like the best option. I begged her to move in with me, but she wouldn't hear it. "I'm not a burden, Michael," she'd said, her eyes fierce with pride. So I did the next best thing. I rented the condo right across from hers. As a remote software engineer, I could work from anywhere. In this way, I could keep an eye on her while GIVYing her the independence she craved. The life alert was my idea. The community's pull cords were fine, but what if she fell somewhere out of reach? The pendant she wore around her neck was my safety net, my peace of mind. For 2 months, everything went smoothly. Grandma settled in, charming her neighbors at the community center's bingo nights. I popped over a few times a day, and we'd laugh over coffee or watch old westerns. Then Cynthia Harper knocked on my door. Her smile was all teeth, her eyes cold as ice. "I'm Cynthia, HOA VYC president," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "We've had complaints about that alarm in your grandmother's unit. It's disruptive." I explained that the life alert had only gone off once by accident, when Grandma snagged it while pulling on a cardigan. The company called right away, confirmed it was a false alarm, and that was that. Cynthia's manicured eyebrows shot up. "Well, perhaps such a VYC isn't suitable for community VYing. The HOA handbook bans unapproved modifications and noisy equipment." I pointed out that the life alert was just a plug-in console with a pendant, not a renovation, and it had only made noise Saw once saw. She handed me a copy of the handbook, her lips pursed. "Read the rules, Mr. Carter." Things got worse from there. Notes started appearing on our doors, citing noise violations. Emails blasted to all residents preached about respecting the community's peace. Then came letters threatening fines for repeated disruptions. I tried talking to Cynthia, explaining that Grandma had a heart condition, saw aortic stenosis, saw that could make her collapse without warning. The system had only gone off 3 times in 3 months, all for real reasons. Once when new meds made her dizzy, once when she slipped in the shower but caught herself, and that one accidental press. But Cynthia saw Karen saw in my head after I saw her berate the gardener to tears over uneven rows didn't care. One day, by the mailboxes, she said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Your grandmother's just attention-seeking, pressing that button whenever she's bored. It's making people ignore saw emergencies." I was fuming but kept my cool. She's 84 with a heart condition. She's not playing games. She's trying to stay alive. Cynthia rolled her eyes and strutted off, her heels clicking like a countdown. Then came the day that changed everything. I was in a Zoom meeting when my phone buzzed life alert support. "Mr. Carter, your grandmother's system has been offline for 3 hours. No power to the console." My stomach dropped. Grandma never saw unplug it. She was paranoid about forgetting to plug it back in. I ended the call and sprinted across the hall, pounding on her door. No answer. I fumbled with my key, heart racing, and found her napping in her recliner. Relief hit me like a wave, but it didn't last. The life alert console, usually on the kitchen counter, was gone. After tearing the place apart, I found it unplugged and shoved behind a potted fern in the Lee Vying room. Grandma woke up, confused. "I didn't touch it, Michael," she said, her voice small. "Maybe I bumped it while dusting, but it was too deliberate. Someone had saw it. Then it hit me. The HOA board had spare keys to all units for emergencies and maintenance. My blood ran cold. The next day, Mrs. Larson from next door showed me her doorbell camera footage. She'd installed it after someone swiped her welcome mat. The video was crystal clear. Cynthia, key in hand, slipping into Grandma's condo while she was at bridge club. 15 minutes later, she walked out, smirking like she'd won a war. I was Lee VYD, but needed proof to nail her. I plugged the life alert back in, tested it, and set up a tiny camera on Grandma's bookshelf, aimed right at the console. 2 days later, disaster struck. I was at the grocery store when Mrs. Larson called. "Michael, your grandma's on the floor." I heard a thump through the wall and checked on her. "She's awake, but can't get up." I dropped my cart and sped home, dialing 911. When I got there, paramedics were with Grandma. She'd had a cardiac episode, the exact nightmare the life alert was for. "I kept pressing the button," she whispered as they wheeled her out, "but nothing happened." I checked the console. Unplugged. Again, but this time my camera had it all. Cynthia sneaking in, yanking the plug, and muttering, "Time that old lady learned to stop crying wolf." I saw red. I called the police and showed them both videos. Officer Daniels, a no-nonsense woman, watched the footage, her jaw tightening. "This isn't just trespassing," she said. "Tampering with medical equipment and endangering a vulnerable adult? That's serious." While Grandma recovered in the hospital, I handed over everything. The videos, Cynthia's nasty letters, emails, and statements from neighbors who'd heard her call Grandma Faker. Officer Daniels said to contact the HOA president. Mr. Thompson was horrified when I showed him the EVY. "This is unacceptable," he said, shaken. "I've revoked Ms. Harper's key access, and we're holding an emergency meeting tomorrow." Cynthia, clueless, kept terrorizing the community, scolding the pool guy, slapping violation notices on cars, strutting around the clubhouse like a queen. She had no idea her world was about to crash. The next evening, as I sat with Grandma in her hospital room, my phone blew up with texts. Cynthia had been arrested at the HOA meeting. Officer Daniels and 2 cops marched in as she ranted about banning tacky Christmas lights. The room froze. "Cynthia Harper," Daniels said, "you're under arrest for unlawful entry, reckless endangerment, and tampering with emergency equipment." Cynthia shrieked, "This is absurd. I'm the HOA VYC president. I was keeping order." But as they cuffed her, neighbors started spilling their own stories of her bullying. Grandma wasn't her only VY Tim, just the one who finally brought her down. At her arraignment, Cynthia showed up in a tailored suit, still acting untouchable. Her lawyer argued she had authority as an HOA member to enter units. The judge, a steely-haired woman, wasn't VYing it. "Access for emergencies doesn't mean unplugging Life SA VYing to VYCS," she snapped. "The charges: felony reckless endangerment, breaking and entering, tampering." The prosecutor showed Grandma's medical report. She could have died without help. Bail was set at due law $50,000, with up to 10 years in prison and due law $25,000 in fines. Cynthia's smug mask cracked. As I led her away, our eyes met. For the first time, Cynthia Harper looked scared. Grandma's home now, recovering, but I'll never forget how close we came to losing her. Cynthia is facing justice, but the scars she left on our community run deep. What do you think? Did Cynthia deserve what she got? Or was she just a control freak who went too far? Should HOA boards have this much power over people's lives? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this story got your blood boiling. And subscribe for more real-life drama. Let's keep the conversation going.